What's up everybody, I'm HoopsandHipHop and welcome to a video that I did not plan to make today for today's upload, but I'm more than happy to because we actually got some new gameplay shown off for Pokemon Sword and Shield in the middle of the night and it was completely unannounced. So yeah, kind of a weird situation. At like 2:15 for my local time, this video was randomly uploaded to Nintendo UK's website, apparently related to Gamescom because that's going on right now. And Shigeru Omori, the director of the games, actually showed off some gameplay going through the first town that we go into in the game. And so because this was just super random and because I was up at 2 a.m. because of who I am as a person, I decided to go ahead and make this video because by the time you are all awake, this is definitely going to be something that's going to be talked about all throughout the day. So without any further ado, why don't we go ahead and look over this gameplay and see if we can point out any interesting stuff. Now, to be honest with you guys, this is the very first town that's going to be explored within the Galar region. We've already kind of seen it from afar before, so it's not like this is anything super brand new, but the gameplay within the town itself is, so it's still very interesting, and we're gonna see if we can pick out anything interesting. First off, I've just got to say that it looks great. Like, I love the detail in the towns, from the buildings to the signs to the actual words that you can read, even if it's that Pokemon language gibberish, to all the people that are actually in the town that make it feel more alive. I just think it looks so good and clean, and for a first town, it actually looks fairly robust as well. There's actually several shops and stuff that we'll get into a little bit later, and it definitely doesn't look like some random throwaway type of town that you can expect to see in Pokemon where there's only like 2 houses. Even though this is the first town, it looks pretty sizable, which has me excited for some of the bigger cities as well. But anyway, the first major thing that we actually get to that I want to comment on is the Pokemon Research Lab. So this purple building, or rather this building with the purple roof that has a Pokeball on it that we all saw within the map and in some of the earlier trailers, has now officially been confirmed to be the Pokemon laboratory where Professor Magnolia works, which is kind of interesting because everyone thought that it was going to be that one greenhouse type of building that is kind of over by the lake that's away from all the towns. Everyone thought that was going to be the lab, but no, it's officially confirmed to be this building within the town, which also ends up begging the question, if this is the lab, then what is that greenhouse building? Well, we know that it's related to Professor Magnolia because when we get introduced to Professor Magnolia, we can clearly see her standing in front of it, which tells me that this is probably actually her house as opposed to the lab, which is kind of not the craziest thing in the world, but it's also significant because Magnolia has her own individual house in addition to having a laboratory, and I'm pretty sure this is the very first time that we've actually had a Pokemon professor have their own private residence in addition to the lab. So it's not like they essentially live in the lab, quote unquote, which, I don't know, is a really nice detail, and I think it also shows that Professor Magnolia, as well as Sonia, her granddaughter, are going to play a somewhat significant role if they literally have their own house in addition to having the laboratory in town as well. So that's a nice little touch that kind of just adds to the overall depth and detail, I guess you could say, of the region. The other thing we also get to see that is kind of completely brand new is the interior of the railway stations that you're going to be using to travel throughout the region. One thing we do see upon the player character entering the building is that there is a loading screen, which basically confirms that there are loading screens in this game when you walk into buildings, which kind of kills my dream of having no loading screens within the game, kind of Breath of the Wild-esque, but it's not a huge deal either because it's not something that was like hinted at or alluded to or anything. It was kind of just a pipe dream that I had, so it kind of sucks that now that's not going to happen, but it's not like the biggest deal anyway, because it's not like the loading times are going to take a long time. But once we get into the actual railway station here, it looks really nice. Once again, just like the rest of the game, like there's obviously so much detail that's going on here. You can see signs, you can see bulletin boards, you can see so much stuff going on that just makes this place looks so utterly English, and I love the attention to detail with the Poke language that we're seeing and that we do see all throughout the region, because it just makes it feel like that much more real. It just makes the the region itself that much more immersive when they have their own dedicated language that can be seen all throughout the region, and it's not just kind of like chicken scratch. It is kind of chicken scratch in a way because it's a made-up language, but I'm guaranteeing you that actually does translate to something, and once again, that just adds to the depth that's put into this game and this region, which is awesome. And then another fantastic thing that's confirmed during this segment of the gameplay that's shown off is that sitting is confirmed to return in this game, because we see the female player character sit on one of the train benches, and that's just fantastic because as far as I'm aware, I'm pretty sure they took sitting out of Sun and Moon, even though they had it in Pokemon X and Y. So the fact that the immersion of sitting is back in Pokemon is truly a return to form that I am ecstatic to see. So I definitely will be pre-ordering these games just for that. I don't know about you. But then we get back into the exterior of the town, and something interesting is that in the gameplay, Omori highlights the Pokemon centers, and even though they don't go in to the Pokemon Center itself, Omori says that these Pokemon centers are quote-unquote different to those in other regions, which is kind of interesting because we have seen the interior briefly in screenshots of the Pokemon centers, and they look kind of exactly like the ones in Sun and Moon, where you've got the actual Pokemon Center in the center of the building, and then off to the side there's like that cafe area, and then there's obviously going to be like a Pokemart in here as well, because you can see the blue Pokemart logo outside of the Pokemon Center. So I'm not really sure what he means by different, but it'll be interesting to take note of once we actually get more information, obviously, and it'll be interesting to see if there is actually anything different about it, or if he's just talking about something that we already know about for some reason. But then we get something that's we knew was going to be here, but then something that's also really interesting. The gameplay goes on to talk about the shops that are in this town, one of them being the boutique where you can obviously customize your clothes, and it's really interesting that this is found in the first town, because that shows it's like right away you can buy clothes, you can customize your character, like you don't have to wait to get to like the first gym town or something like that. So that's pretty cool. But then there are also, in addition to the boutiques, there's also like a produce store that is selling produce. And it looks like from the gameplay that you're actually going to be able to purchase stuff from this store, whether it be like apples or pumpkins or whatever the case may be, and they're probably obviously going to do things for your Pokemon, like heal a little bit of HP or maybe like help their stats or something like that. And even though that's not like the biggest detail, I just love that that's kind of like a English detail, quote unquote, that just helps this region to feel more accurate to the place that it's portraying. And once again, it just adds to the overall immersion and depth of the region, and I really hope we get to see different little shops like this, whether it be a produce shop, whether it might be like a bookstore, because we've seen those type of things throughout the region, and we know that business and industry is big in this region. So if we have different kinds of like specialty shops all throughout the region similar to this that we're actually able to kind of like buy from, that is just going to be a treat, because once again it'll add to the depth of this region tremendously and the immersion of it as well. And speaking of the immersion of it, the final thing we really get a good view of is the beautiful views themselves of this game. We see the player character kind of walking outside of the town a little bit on a hilltop as the horizon begins to open up, and like the visual like depth of this game in terms of how far out you can see is just absolutely beautiful. You can see clear out into the mountain range on the other side of the valley, I guess you could say, and you can even see far down into what we're assuming is Magnolia's house that is down at the bottom of the hill across the lake, and it just makes for a really beautiful scene that I think is just another example of how beautiful this game really is, and I'm really, really excited to see more vistas and views like this, because it seems like they've built in a couple of these types of places to show off the beauty of this region, and this honestly has me sold right here, because this just looks phenomenal. I think it looks really great, and as the player character keeps walking outside of the town, we also see a little twinkle from the rock that's sitting next to the staircase that leads out of the city. So that's probably one of those hidden items that you can just find that are invisible throughout the region, or throughout the game, that we've seen in other Pokemon games, so that's really cool. But then that's pretty much it. Like I said, it's not a whole lot because we already have seen this town, but I did want to go ahead and talk about it because this is something that was completely unexpected, that we weren't planning on seeing at all, and it dropped in the middle of the night, so I figured that I would go ahead, talk about it, cover it, since it's probably going to be the trending topic of the day, and I figured that you guys could kind of learn about it for the first time here, since you're probably going to wake up to this and learn about it for the first time, and I thought I would go ahead and point out some interesting stuff while I did that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe for more Pokemon Sword and Shield content, as well as Pokemon content in general. Follow me on Spotify to further support the channel, and I will be back on Thursday with another regularly scheduled video. It's going to be a great one. It was going to go up today, but then I decided to do this last minute just to kind of cover the news and help you guys just show this off and talk about it, because it's so fun to talk about new Pokemon information and gameplay and stuff like that. But anyways, I'm done talking. I'll see you guys on Thursday. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I love you all, and until the next one, I'll smell you guys later.